This is Musical Talk, your podcast for musical theater. Here are your hosts, Nick Hudson and Andrew Edwards.
Andrew Edwards is unwell again, so that jingle is a complete false enmity in this show. But we do have, as you've probably seen on our website, a new face for the Musical Talk crew. This is Dominic Lindsay Beaton.
And you pronounced it correctly. That's brilliant.
Unlike many other people who probably pronounce it Dom's Lindy say Beaton.
Buffoony, something or other. Yeah, so Andy's unwell, which is sad. And it does mean that you've told another lie in your jingle. So you should really sort your jingle out.
Episode 12 of Musical Talk. Thank you very much for listening. Last week's show was the most popular show we've ever had. It's funny because on last week's show, we said last week's show was the most popular one. We had the theme park episode, but the Stephanie J. Block interview has gone down very well.
It was really good, and it just goes to show that the community's growing for Musical Talk, which is a good.
We've had lots of. I don't know if you've seen our forums.
I have had a chance looking at your forums.
We've had lots of love on the forums lately. We've had a whole thread devoted to how great Andy and Nick are.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
Nice to have adoring fans.
Very
really.
Nice of adoring
Now I'm
fans.
worried that I'm here and Andy's not.
No.
They're all switching off.
No.
That'd be sad, wouldn't it?
They won't be. Andy will be here next week.
Give me a chance, guys. That's all I want.
He sent me a text message this morning to apologise for not being able to come. He's had an emergency appointment with the Theatreland physio, where all the famous people go.
And I assume that won't affect the competition at all.
No,
you're having.
You're very excited about this competition.
I
aren't
am.
You?
I think it's a good, especially as a first,
premier competition.
And people have to audition their things for the judge.
Their ideas to us.
Judge.
And then we hand them down to Mr. Clive Paget.
Or hand them up, rather.
Hand them up, sorry.
Yeah, with bowed heads.
Well, I'm taller than him, so I'll be handing them down to him. But what we've asked you to do is submit to us just a very, very simple competition, an idea for a musical. That's all we're asking. Just give us a synopsis or a treatment. Now, you're the expert on this, Dom, so you can explain what a proper treatment should include if you want to do it professionally and impress us.
Yeah, I mean, always good to impress everyone, because you really, it's a bit of fun, and it's good fun with a good prize, but also, likewise, you never know who's going to be looking at possible stories that you come
Clive
up with,
is
or things, but then you do know if you get to the final five. I think
Clive is musical theatre consultant at the National Theatre
London.
Exactly,
you're going to have someone who's who could possibly go, this is quite good, and try and greenlight a project you have. So
it doesn't cost you anything to get your idea on unless you call our voicemail line.
Yeah,
which someone has done. We have our first voicemail call.
Really? From the US?
Yes, and
wow.
Interesting enough, he asked a question about Caroline or Change, which I then put through to Clive Paget. So it's sort of come full circle with this.
Fantastic.
So why don't we start with this? We've had this is our first voicemail caller.
All right.
He'll explain it better than I do, so here we go.
Let's go for it.
Hi, my name's MJ from New York City, and I actually had a couple questions. One, I've heard that the Carolina Change, one of Tony Kushner production, it started on Broadway, is actually making a run in the West End, and I was wondering what your thoughts on that, considering it had a really lackluster run here at the August Wilson Theater in Broadway, and I was just wondering if you think it'll be a success on the West End, and maybe do you think it would actually spark an early revival, I guess a premature revival it would be called, back in the United States? Because that show did spark a lot of controversy with critics, whether or not the American audiences were ready for it, and I was just wondering how foreign audiences would view a show that's, I guess, widely American, albeit. And my second question was, I recently saw Mary Poppins here at the New Amsterdam Theater in New York, and I was just wondering, and because I heard they changed the production because the British production seemed a little more grim. This one seemed very light and fluffy. I was wondering, do you think that was because British audiences didn't receive it well, or do you think it was purely an American choice? I guess that's all I had to ask. Thank you very much, and enjoy the show. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, MJ, for your questions from New York, the mecca of musicals.
Fantastic.
So first he asked about Caroline or Change. Caroline or Change, we talked about on a couple of shows ago, is a musical with book and lyrics by Tony Kushner, the American playwright, and music by Tessori, who did the new songs for Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Okay.
And she's also doing Shrek the Musical. We put MJ's first question through to Clive Paget at the National Theatre, who actually decided to bring Caroline or Change over to the National. So this is his response to MJ's question.
So Caroline or Change is running at the National Theatre, which of course is a subsidised theatre, and it is of course a limited run. So whether or not it transfers to the West End will be an interesting question. We have of course had very good reviews, almost universally so, and we've won an Evening Standard Award, which is great, and
The best musical.
the best musical, and pretty much all performances at the National have been sold out, although the Littleton is only about a 900-seat theatre, so that is not particularly large. It will be very interesting to see whether a producer thinks that Caroline or Change is a sufficiently commercial project to take any further. My suspicion is that it wouldn't be, despite the fact that audiences do appear to have really responded to it. It is the National Theatre, and therefore a particular type of audience comes expecting to be probably more challenged than a West End audience necessarily would be. The fact that it transferred onto Broadway suggests that an American producer at least thought that it had commercial potential. The creative team's view on the Broadway transfer is that the Republican Party Congress, I think, was in New York while it was on, and no one was interested in liberal musicals. Who had that is their story, and there may be some truth in it. It's certainly generally thought that post 9/11 American audiences want something which lifts the gloom of present
Like Hairspray.
times, like Hairspray, and anything which kind of which addresses a more serious issue simply reminds them of the war on terror, as it's put.
Or tourism, as Bush says.
Exactly. So yeah, no. I would be very interested to see if it did last. I suspect it won't transfer. It'll end up being a very successful thing for the National Theatre, and it's possible the National Theatre might think of bringing it back at some point. I mean, the difficulty with a rep theatre like the National is that if something is successful, you invariably cannot bring it back for at least another 6 months because the rest of the programme is in place and has been advertised. So although things do come back, they do come back further down the line. But it would be interesting to see whether that happens.
Why do you think it's been so successful with the British audiences?
I think it's been. I think that, I mean, there are a lot of musicals in the West End at the moment, and a lot of them have received very good notices. I would almost have thought that the obvious answer would be, well, there aren't very many intellectually challenging musicals going on in the West End, and therefore the audiences are hungry for it. But that probably isn't the case, because maybe there aren't that many intellectually challenging musicals out there. I think our audiences have just liked a piece which is character-led, which has got strong characters who are explored in an honest and genuine way, and that's something maybe that you don't get so often in other musicals.
So there's Clive Paget in a very large room.
Yeah.
Answering MJ's question, and I saw Caroline or Change. I enjoyed it very much, and it is a very, it's sort of, the musical score to me sort of was, one end it was very high, what I like to call Sondheim-y, interesting music, and the other, because it's set in 1960s in the southern states, the other end of it was very poppy, Little Shop of Horrors, Motown influence.
A lot of hooks. Right.
It works very well. Of course, there's, but it's interesting how it didn't run very well in America, as MJ said, but it did win a couple of Tony Awards.
Well, there you go. I mean, it depends audience you find.
I think the whole post 9/11 thing has something to do with it.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is also, you have to remember, is Kushner's writing is always very controversial. He always has been. I don't think he goes out of his way to be controversial, but the characters he creates, the storylines he imagines, and I think that's a very truthful statement that the National would put. I think they put on Angels in America, which is one of Kushner's plays, not too long ago, and that is the trend of the National. The National does put on intellectually stimulating performances, whether they're readings of new writers or whatever, to musicals like they're doing here, and it's because the audience that they get do want to be challenged in that sense.
Yeah.
They don't want to be just spoon fed some song and dance or some easy character to watch and go, oh, he's that two-dimensional character. They want something a bit more. So you never know. You honestly never know what audience you're going to find, and it's the scary and fun thing of this industry.
But I'm really glad it's doing well, because it's gone down phenomenally well. As Clive said, they won the Evening Standard Award, which is a very prestigious award
very
here.
Prestigious.
And if you think of the competition it's had, with Spamalot, Wicked,
Avenue Q,
Sound of Music.
Yeah,
it's really interesting how this this musical that failed in Broadway has now won a Best Musical Award.
And I mean, and there again, you're thinking, and you have to, especially from a producer and director standpoint of what your next project is. It failed because it's not getting enough money, box office sales. But actually, if you have audiences that are intrigued by it, then how much of a failure can that actually be?
The National Theatre also doesn't need to make a profit with their shows.
Because they
get £1 million a month from the government.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
Which is it's well spent as well.
Yeah.
It's a very good place, and also they are one of the forerunners in the country for developing new writers, new talent.
Clive Paget developed. Have you heard of the Bridewell Theatre?
Yeah.
Clive Paget was the guy who developed that and was the creative director there for many years.
Right.
And of course they were the forerunners in developing new musical works, which is that's why we're having him to judge our competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so if you want to submit your response to our competition, what do you think would be a good musical, a movie, a book? Give us a treatment. Not 50 pages long.
It's not just, well, you know what? Here's the first piece of advice there. If you are going to send a producer or a judge any treatment, don't send them a 50-page long treatment.
If you want to send us some songs, we'll be happy to play them and see what we think of them. Get Clive.
That'd be great, actually.
Get Clive to comment on them.
Yeah, if anyone out there actually has to can do that and can do a little song from what they propose, that'd be fantastic to listen to.
We have the technology.
Yeah, we have.
Now, listeners of Musical Talk, long-time listeners, but you may remember the Halloween episode. You have heard Dom on his show before, when I played the Pie Man. Because we're discussing about
the Pie Man.
Because we're discussing,
and my voice went really high there. That was the Pie Man.
The Pie Man. But MJ's other question. Thanks very much, MJ, again for your
great
voicemail message.
Great questions.
It was about Mary Poppins. Now, of course, we can't comment on this because we haven't seen
the one in New York.
We haven't seen the one in New York, but. Long time ago, I read rumours that they were planning to tone it down because the Americans would be disappointed that it wasn't like the American Disney film. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the producers doing this, they really have the power to do whatever they want.
Yeah. And
I heard that the New York show is actually better than the English one. There's a song Dom and I like called Temper Temper.
Oh, it's a fantastic song. My God, is that a good song?
Which they've actually made it sung in a whisper. Temper Temper, that was your crime, whatever.
Yeah.
Which, according to the composers, makes it sound more demonic and more
frightening.
Yeah,
I can imagine, because it's the nice technique of a scary whisper.
And they have a whole new dance sequence added into it, and they have a whole new Mary Poppins at the end actually comes in and says temper temper. That's what happens when you lose your temper, because the ending on stage in London is a bit random. It just ends and all the toys disappear. But we can't really comment on that. But if anyone has seen the Mary Poppins show in New York and in London, do contact us and let us know.
I'm going to be off to
the Big
New
Apple.
York, the Big Apple, early next year, and I tell you what, I will try and go see it. And
Please do.
And then I'll come back onto the show, and we can have a nice comparative discussion of the difference in the shows. And so, MJ, you might have to wait until 2007.
Until next year.
Until next year. So that means you have to keep listeting until 2007 to get your answer for the second question.
We'll slip it into one episode somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. We won't tell you when, though.
But, so if you do have any questions, the email is musicaltalk@hotmail.co.uk. You can always go to our website, just Google Musical Talk, and it'll appear there, and you'll be able to get in touch with us via the forums or the
Absolutely,
voicemail line.
by all means, do put things on the forums.
Do devote the 3 seconds it takes to sign up to the forums.
Yeah, it's lots of fun, and there's I think what we said from the ratings. There's a bigger community of you guys growing out there across the globe.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Across the globe, how much fun is that?
How marvellous is that? So, of course, the main big announcement on our website, if you haven't seen it, is, well, Dom, why don't you lead us into this fantastic phantasmagorical with your wonderful vocal talents.
That's all I got, okay? Brilliant. Well, there you go. Thank you very much. That's the budget of the show. Yeah, fantastic.
Minus money.
See, who needs professional orchestras for shows anymore? Just get people like us to sit there.
Anyway, we have Joey Herman on the show not today, but at the end of January, he's agreed to be added to our prestigious guest list, as he put it to me. So that's very exciting. So if you want to go up on the forums and submit questions, they will be answered by Mr. Joey Herman himself, Mr. Hello Dolly and Mame and Le Cajaf, and Mac and Mabel, and Mrs. Santa Claus, which is a wonderful movie with Angela Lansbury, which I watched with Andy last week. Charming movie.
Absolutely. And I'm sure
get us into the festive mood.
Exactly, and there are so many.
The main topic of today's show is theatrical superstitions.
Superstitions, yeah, not just in musicals, but
no,
superstitions
in the theatre.
In the theatre.
In the theatre.
In the theatre, they're a superstitious lot, which they are.
Now, I only know one rumour of where, of course, the famous phrase is "break a leg." You say so.
Breaker, yeah. That is the forerunner of the most famous superstition.
Now,
where does break a leg come from?
I heard one rumour that in the olden days, before colour TV was invented.
Yeah, in the olden days, before we had WAV files and MP3s and iPod,
there was the thing that would raise the curtain up and down was called the leg. So if you broke the leg, it means the curtain would be going up and down for the curtain calls. So that just meant, that's one of the theories of where break a leg comes from.
Yeah.
Do you have a different one?
No, there are quite a few. In fact, there are quite a few I can think of. Some of which I like, some of which I think are just ridiculous.
You cynical.
I am very
Dom
cynical.
puts the sin in cynical.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I will. I'll tell you a few of them, but you're absolutely right. One of them is quite that. The idea is break a leg meant that it was a good show because you kept getting a lot of curtain calls. The audience would not leave until they could clap and applaud you more. And as we all know,
their hands off.
if you can clap for actors, they'll do anything for you. It's what we do best. Anyway, other origins that I know of, break a leg is it's a bit strange because there are so many.
Is one related to actually someone breaking their leg?
No, there was an actress in France who broke her leg, and it is that simple. But the other ones I know are break a leg was actually a term for bending your knee, and that just meant that you had a very good curtain call, and so you knelt before the audience. So to break a leg meant that you bent your knee and you went down, because that is when they would then stand up and the audience would give you a standing ovation. So you break a leg there. What are the other ones? There's another, my personal favourite, I like this one, is leg actually stands for Let's Emerge Great.
Right.
That's the one that I've always grown up with, and I personally love that one, as in LEG, Let's Emerge Great. And it was really a way to say break a leg was what all the actors and all the crew could say to each other, to say, let's put on this show like it's our last. Like, you won't have another show, but that one actually links to another origin whereby break a leg meant you broke into your career. So if you managed to break a leg, that meant that you then had another job after this acting job was done. And as we all know, the superstitious side of theatre is because the actual industry is so fickle. You never know when your next job is going to come along or how good it'll be if you'll enjoy it. It's so fickle like that. So to break a leg meant Let's Emerge Great, meant that at the end of the show you were so good you then have another job afterwards.
Where does it come from to wish it's bad luck to say good luck?
I have no idea with that.
Why do you think it's bad luck?
I mean, I don't know, again, superstitious because you don't want to tempt fate. A lot of actors are like that. They, some of the old school actors I
Olivia,
go with,
yeah.
you know. Well, the ones that are still alive as well, you know, they do have their own superstitions that they obey before opening night, or if they're going the duration of a tour. They don't want to be wished good luck.
And of course, actors have rituals that they may do before
Yeah,
a show.
absolutely. I mean, people
You like to stay in character. You like to base.
Yeah,
Stanislavski's-
but that's just my preference. You know, everyone's got different ones. But yeah, what are the other superstitions that you have in the theatre? One of the famous ones is Macbeth. You can't in when you're inside a theatre. Obviously, we can say it now. But when you're inside a theatre,
Scottish play.
the Scottish
And
play,
then if you do say it, you have to run around and turn around and
and jump up and down,
spit on someone. And
and slap a
floor.
girl in the face and get slapped back by her because she's the daughter of the director.
Do you know
It's
where
all
that
very
come-
embarrassing.
Do you know where all those come from?
Macbeth. Well, again, actually, Macbeth is very similar to Break a Leg in that there is no direct origin of it. One of the reasons why you don't say Macbeth is because Macbeth is and always has been a surefire hit.
Right.
Macbeth is a very famous and popular play, exactly.
Still.
So to
500
this
years
day,
later.
exactly. If you do Macbeth, you will find an audience. No matter how the size of, if you're a fringe venue or a big West End venue, you know, you're doing a tour and you finish it on Broadway, you will find an audience with Macbeth because it's so popular and because it's so famous, and also because, you know, education systems, it's on their syllabus or whatever. So many reasons for it. Now, back in the day, and we're talking about the old days here again, before MP3s and iPods, if your theatre was failing, you then put on Macbeth, because that would get you an audience back.
Okay.
So to do Macbeth meant that your theatre's failing. You see, exactly. So you never wanted to say you were doing Macbeth, because that would tell everyone around you that, oh my God, it's failing. I don't want to be an actor there. I don't want to produce anything there because it's failing. So instead of saying Macbeth, he used to just say the Scottish play, and everyone knew what you're talking about without getting insulted by it. So there you go. That is the reason I know of Macbeth being called the Scottish
Have
play.
you heard of any terrible things happening where someone will say Macbeth in a theatre and bad things will happen to
Yeah,
you?
I mean that's also linked to, you know, Macbeth is a bloodthirsty play. It's brutal, and I mean I've seen quite a
Great.
It is fantastic. It's my favourite. It's one of my favourite plays by Shakespeare.
Everyone dies.
And well, I mean it's got everything in it, and because of that, it's very gory, and quite a few productions I've seen don't hold back on the gore. They don't overdo it, but you know the fights between Banquo and Macbeth, very violent, and a lot of the hearsay and the rumours that have gone around what's happened when someone in the cast has said Macbeth backstage before they opened was in the fight scenes.
Right.
They get their timing wrong, or something goes wrong, and the sword actually cleaves into them.
And has there been
or
proof
something.
of this?
I'm sure somewhere there's
Like
something
UFOs,
that's happened.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. There's probably all these actors sitting around a table saying, "Oh yes, that happened back in, you know, when I was in the RSC or something." But you know, likewise, that can also be just because you had a bad day fighting and you mistimed it. You know, so it's again, I'm a cynic. It's hearsay, it's rumour.
Not the best thing to talk about with Dom is
it's
superstition.
superstitious mumbo jumbo. But I do know that one. And
There's a whistling.
There's also that one. That's
In the wings
superstition.
or something like flies coming down.
Well, yeah, do not whistle in the wings
Now,
and backstage.
what I heard about this is whistles were often used to communicate to the people controlling the flies of the scenery that would come down.
Yes.
So if you whistle
then, yeah,
like,
there you go.
If you whistle that would mean for the person operating the flies, which is the curtains, which the scenery, whatever, would come down before computers, or that would drop down. That seems a bit far fetched.
Very similar. Not really. You see, again, back in the day, where all these superstitious things came from, a while ago, what they used to do was hire sailors to be stagehands and crew.
Mm-hmm.
Because sailors, you know, they didn't always have work, depending
They
on
were
the tides.
strong and
They were strong, and they knew how to tie knots. And that was very, very important. It's still important to this day.
Mhm.
They know how to tie knots. They know how to handle themselves and handle it quickly. On boats, they used to have signals with the flies that they would whistle, and they would also clap to each other. Instead of shouting or yelling or something, you'd hear a whistle and you knew what that meant.
Mhm.
So the problem was, superstitious problem was, backstage, they would have done their job, and then they hear someone whistling, and they would think that that is a signal to drop something or to raise something, and it would cause a big accident.
So this is more during in performance than any random time in rehearsals.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So it just became, and the superstition is then it became, and likewise they had claps. So there is a smaller superstition that you don't clap backstage. You know, even if your best friend's done a great performance and you're in the wings and you want to applaud for them, you don't, because there might be a sailor somewhere who might untie a knot and a sandbag falls on your best friend's head. Again, superstition. But there you go. Well, I mean, there's just another one. It's not really a superstition, but just in terms of origins, it was where stealing the limelight or standing in the limelight, or that the term limelight actually came from.
We talked about this in another episode where we talked about the green room, because the stage limes are green,
right?
And they, you know, in the olden days,
in the oldie times,
when everything had an e at the end,
yeah,
and they would. Because the lights would project green, going in a green room beforehand would, you know, get the actor's eyes used to this green glow. So that meant they'd be able to go on stage easily. But maybe you can.
Well, I mean, I've actually got
augment on this story.
Well, a different one was in the early 1800s. There was Sir Humphrey Davy, who was a chemist, heated calcium oxide, which is effectively lime. And he realised when he got that hot, it did emit a very good glow, and that was the first kind of spotlight they started to use. And so then, obviously, we no longer heat limestone to make spotlights. We've advanced with it, but that was
we have gas now.
Yeah, incredible. But that was
grid fire with
with
stick and
stone.
wood.
Yeah, we are man. But that was the origin of actually of limelight. And so stealing the limelight meant that they couldn't do that. They couldn't have many of them on stage because it's quite a difficult, and at the time it was quite a cumbersome thing to do. So depending on how many actors you had, some of them might vie for the one who's going to be lit up by the limelight, hence stealing your limelight.
Very
there
nice.
you go. Nowadays we have lots of follow lights and spotlights and
moving
every
lights
actor,
and gobos and all
exactly.
exciting
You can
things.
give it to members of the ensemble and they're all happy, as well as the lead character. It's all well and good
Everyone
for
has a
everyone.
light that moves.
Yeah, it's all fine. So
I-
times have moved on.
I saw Chicago last night for the first time. Now I enjoy the movie.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, had you seen the film?
Yeah.
And so
So it was difficult seeing anyone else other than Catherine Zeta-Jones playing the role, because
Yeah.
I thought she's just phenomenal in that
yeah.
role. The first thing which was weird for me is seeing the blonde as the brunette and the brunette as the blonde.
bit of a switch. Yeah.
Which whoa, what happened? Whoa, man, I'm all messed up, man.
Well,
But and Mr. Cellophane is still my favourite song in the show.
it is. It's still mine as well.
As my friend suggested, he's the only character that has any depth, ironically. You know, the one which is, I think, adds to the sort of whole superficiality of the show, how it's meant to be, because he's the one we're not meant to see, but he's the deepest character.
Exactly. That I think that's part of the intelligence about it. Is all the other characters are about the veneer, the look,
the money.
Exactly. He's the one who was really just trying to do right by his wife and trying to make sense of the world.
It's interesting
himself.
how he has to put gloves on to be noticed.
Yeah,
because
it makes him a bit.
If you put gloves on, a light on you will instantly, because he has a grey suit on.
Yeah.
So if he puts white gloves on, he's instantly.
Yeah, your eyes are attracted to it and everything. Absolutely.
And he does this amazing dance where he sort of lilts from side to side,
sways, and he like cellophane. It is a fantastic song. It's definitely one of my favourites from the show, both in the film and the stage show.
Yeah. Class is also a very ironic song and very nice song, because it's littered with all these swear words.
Yeah.
And the music's gorgeous, and you know, it's just funny they're singing about don't even say pardon when they're passing their gas.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to class? And interesting that new lyrics in the movie version, slightly more ruder lyrics in the movie version compared to the original 70s stage musical.
In a strange way, and it's might be a bit of an odd thing to say considering the our audience, but you know, with the film, they're hoping to have a bigger audience than your theatre goer. So you would have had a bunch of people around a table going, "We need to change these lyrics, kid," and then they would have changed the lyrics because that cigar smoking fella said
saying
it.
"kids" to John Kander.
Yeah, exactly.
Older, more experienced than anyone in the Hollywood executive room. What do you think of the whole, media comment of crime and paparazzi that it sort of comments on, because
Well, I mean, there's,
you're in media and you're.
Well, I mean, the media, they love a good story. Who doesn't? That's the thing. But it is a fine line
like
between
the bit in the show. Not I saved your life, but the media have gone. I don't
Yeah.
care about all.
Yeah, I don't-
all I want is photos in
exactly.
the paper.
If you saved my life, but no one else is around to see it,
Yeah, who
why do you
cares?
bother saving it?
I have no life to
Yeah,
save.
exactly. That's that's the superficiality of the character, and in the media, there's a fine line between news and gossip.
Yeah.
And
Gossip is not the truth. And
gossip, yeah, but gossip is what sells to a lot of your demographic. So in regards to in context of the performance of the show, it's absolutely right. It's the trial was pomp and circumstance. It was it's razzle dazzle, quite frankly. And if there's no one to see that razzle dazzle, it's not really a show.
No, it's not a show because there's no audience.
There's no audience.
Now, you don't like Chicago. You didn't like the production.
I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I mean, I'd seen the film first.
Yeah. Which was a mistake, apparently, because
Well,
my friend who I saw it with last night, he was saving the movie until after the show.
right. I mean, the film I thought was very good, and it was timed really well.
Yeah, the editing was brilliant in the film.
Yeah, and then I think I saw the stage show a few months afterwards. But I had been so captivated by the film that the stage show wasn't as grand.
That's what I felt, because
But that's just the nature of it's like if someone reads a book and then they watch the film of the book, they say the book was better. It's because when you've read the book, you created the film in your mind,
the cast in your mind.
Exactly, and so what you see on screen is not what you saw in your mind.
Yeah,
and likewise, your introduction to the whatever show, in this case Chicago, was this razzle dazzle with a stellar lineup of Renee Zellweger and Richard Gere, and so that's that's what makes it for you. But I mean, it's been, how long has it been running?
9 years.
9 years. So you can't fault a show
it's
like
doing
that.
Something right.
Yeah, exactly, and it's got some really great numbers in it. So
Yeah, I mean the songs. There's not a bad song in it.
Yeah,
which is the
much.
same with most Camden. I mean, because I saw the Cabaret 2 weeks ago.
All right.
With James Dreyfus, and we talked about that, and it was really good and really interesting take on it. It really went back to the original musical, not the movie, Liza Minnelli that we all know.
And I mean, one thing I like about the original, by comparison to the film, is the original musical had a lot more. The undertones were a lot stronger about the Nazi regime and the horrors of oppression.
But compared to the Liza Minnelli version, where they have this character Sally Bowles come on, who is actually a good singer.
Yeah.
They didn't in the original musical, in the original stage show, and they didn't in this stage show. So it was nice. They completely removed the Liza Minnelli image that people have in their mind of this amazing belting singer who gets a standing ovation for her songs. He was actually a very weak singer on purpose.
I was going to say on purpose because it'd be horrible if it was a weak singer just because they weren't up to the task. But no, on purpose. That's very clever. That's very clever.
Because you actually feel sorry for this character who she obviously wants to climb up in the world, but she can't because she's stuck in this place and she has dreams of going beyond this world, and she can't.
But her voice won't.
She has no talent.
Her voice won't bring her to that point.
And unlike the movie, she actually gets fired from the club for being bad.
Oh,
so it's really quite interesting.
I'd forgotten about that
because Don was actually in Cabaret.
Yeah,
you played. I can't remember.
I played Herr Schultz.
Yeah,
Herr Schultz, which was lots of fun.
Yeah,
actually.
In all musical comedies, you have the comedy couple.
Yeah,
and you have the serious couple.
Yeah,
and you and Fräulein Schneider are the sort of not really the comedy couple, but you're
the sort of gentle subplot that everyone gets to follow.
But Fräulein Schneider, all her songs are questions. What if?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
even they have a duet called "Married."
Yeah.
And even then, it's a what if situation. It's if we were married, gosh, wouldn't life be great? But we won't.
Which is something Oscar Hammerstein invented.
To tell
the unconditional love song. If I loved you.
So we can blame him.
You can blame him for everything.
We can blame him for all the times we all went out on dates and thought we were in love and it wasn't. Thank you very much, Oscar.
This is for another podcast. This is for the whatever podcast where we can just talk about anything because Dom's very bitter.
Brilliant.
But Dom has had a very exciting couple of days. I mean, not days, but recently you had a dinner with Kevin Spacey.
I did. He's the artistic director of the Old Vic, and he's doing a fantastic job. I mean, brilliant. It's not a musical, but it's a play called Moon of the Misbegotten by Eugene O'Neill, and it was fantastic. It was Kevin Spacey, Eve Best, and Cole Meany played the three main characters, and it was the best play, not musical, but I've seen in a very long time. And I mean. The Old Vic is. It was struggling for a while many years ago because it's not a West End play. It's not a West End playhouse, but it does very good stuff, and he's under its artistic direction. It's doing much better now, with a lot of successes. But I mean, one thing Kevin Spacey has always said is he always wanted to do a musical. He always wanted to do it because he's
a musical guy.
He sings and dances, and so that's what he got.
He was in the movie
Beyond the Sea, where he played Bobby Darin.
Yeah,
and it was fantastic. And he got to do He's
a singer and a dancer.
He's a singer and a dancer, and he's very good at them. And then I think he went on tour in America. I think almost not as Bobby Darin, and did those songs all across America, which sounds like a fantastic.
Maybe we'll try and get him on the shows.
Yeah, he squeezed us in, but they're doing fantastic stuff there.
Now, Dom's going to reveal something to me. He went to a seminar.
I went to
with.
Oh dear. Oh, there's the trumpets again. Last week I attended a seminar with Hugh Jackman.
Wow.
None other than Wolverine himself.
Now we had Stephen J. Block on the show last week, and they worked together on The Boy from Oz.
Yeah, and I was going to have a little chat about The Boy from Oz because he did talk about that quite extensively. His new film, the animation. Flushed Away, opened here last week, and I think he's also in that other animation. Happy Feet, the penguins.
Looks brilliant.
It's
already storming America.
Yeah,
beat James Bond.
Yeah, or something. It's a fantastic film for the season as well, timed well with Christmas. But so I saw Flushed Away, and afterwards there was a seminar with the director of Flushed Away and Hugh Jackman as well. He tore himself away from the Ashes. If any of you in America know, that's Australia versus England in the cricket. And
which we won last year, and we're not doing very well this year.
No, not doing well at all. But that, again, a different podcast, I think, that one. Not really to do with musicals, but and he came on and had a very good seminar about it. And he does sing in Flushed Away. He does sing.
Very nice.
He sings a little ditty, which he actually wrote for the film. That he told us that they were there, and he said, "Have you written any music for it?" And the creators were like, "No, we've got some things in the work." And he said, "Well, why don't I just try something now?" And he sang, and as it turns out, that's what stuck in the film. And it's very nice, because he does have a very good singing voice.
He was on the Australian production of Beauty and the Beast as Gaston, I think.
I could definitely see him as Gaston. Fantastic.
People say Andrew Lloyd Webber should have chosen him as the Phantom.
For the film?
Yeah.
Well, I thought Jared Butler was a fantastic Phantom. I thought it was really good. Which I did enjoy that film, actually, quite a lot. I do love the show, though, so there you go. But yeah, Hugh Jackman, he bumped at the premiere of Flushed Away in America. He bumped into a man who said, "Oh, I like the film." He said, "Oh, thank you very much." He said, "I actually wrote some music for that song you sang." But they obviously didn't use it over Hugh Jackman's, and it was a very awkward moment. Yeah.
Do we know who the man was?
No.
I'm sure
someone does. I'm sure he does. But yeah, and so he spoke about it, and he actually got the job for Flushed Away while he was doing The Boy from Oz in New York, and that's when he was approached. So it's taken them 3 years to do that film. Because
it's CGI animation.
It's CGI, yeah, and they recorded his voice when he was doing other projects all around the globe. So actually, his voice has been recorded, I think, in England, America, and Australia for the film.
That's what you can do, isn't it?
It's brilliant, yeah, absolutely. but it's a good film if you enjoy that, and there's a lot of good musical numbers in Flushed Away.
Cool. We should go and see it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. If you enjoy animation, it's very funny, and they have it's really, the numbers are done by singing slugs. They're
How slimy.
They're like a muse. They narrate some of it through some songs, and it's lots of fun. Lots of fun.
I actually haven't heard much about this movie. I mean, because obviously Happy Feet has been the one that's,
Yeah,
which is also musical.
Yeah, and it has Hugh Jackman in it as well. So I don't think he's complaining
Maybe
about
it's
either of them.
Same thing that's going on.
Either of them. But and he said he did say some very interesting things, and I think he's looking to do another stage project as well in the future.
Good.
Because it's lots of fun.
He's he's like Johnny Depp. I think he's a very, very talented.
He's a very talented actor and a very nice.
Did you actually get the chance to meet him?
Yes, I did.
Speak to him personally.
I not speak. Shake hands. You know, everyone does, and you exchange cards and all that nonsense. Everyone has
the producer thing.
But no, he's a very nice, genuine man, and very good at his craft.
Like me.
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly, Nick. Exactly like you.
Oh dear. Not very good at my craft, as it turns out.
Hugh Jackman, no, he did seem very genuine, very nice, very kind, more than willing to answer questions and say things to everyone, because it wasn't just producers there were also writers and actors who were also there.
Like yourself.
So yeah, and so.
Sorry, we haven't really introduced Dom. Sort of the wrong end of the show, but Dom and I.
It's completely the wrong end of the show.
Oh well. Listen to it upside down.
Yeah.
Dom and I met.
We went to school together
10 years ago or something.
So, no, 10. It's 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
9, 10 years
and
ago.
We were acting together, and we done plays together, and we did drama together, and we've written together, and we performed together, and so.
So we were already in sort of. We started at the amateur level in the industry.
Yeah.
Working with each other, and now Nick's gone off and doing musicals and composition and podcasts, and I've gone on into.
Now you have your own company.
I've got my own company.
You've done your movie.
Yes, it's not a musical, unfortunately,
but there is my music in it.
But there is absolutely. Nick Hudson is one of the composers and arrangers for the music in the film. And
very exciting for both of us.
Yeah, very exciting. And I mean, I started out as an actor and still an actor, so I do lots of auditions but not many parts, as is the way it goes. But I'm also now a writer and a producer, and I produce a lot more than I write, and that is my background in a nutshell. But it's very it was very refreshing to hear, but both Kevin Spacey and Hugh Jackman, among others in Hollywood, who actually want to get back to the stage and want to do song and dance.
It seems they're my London more than Hollywood.
Yeah, London is New York and London have a lot of pull because of there's a lot of glamour, a lot of glitz still to do with the West End and Broadway.
But Andy will tell you they're not very glamorous at all.
No, of course they're not. But that's the veneer. That's the point of
That's the Chicago.
That's the Chicago.
That's
the Chicago way. That's the Chicago way. It's what's so fun, and so you go there for the escapism of theatre. That's why it's fun, and there's something in reality that makes you want to watch it, but the rest is all fantastical. And because Broadway and the West End are so strong, you then have things called off-Broadway and off-West End.
Fringe and provincial.
Fringe, exactly, which actually benefits all the business. So that's why there's a big pull for these Hollywood actors to actually want to come over and do tours. And, obviously, Idina Menzel over here until February next year, I think.
January.
January next year.
Or December 31st.
And, so until the end of the year, doing Wicked. It's a celebrity pull to keep a show... give a show a big grand opening in the West End.
And of course, Chicago. I mean, the sort of hook of that show is who's in it.
Who's in it? Absolutely, the hook of the cast, and it's been going for 9 years now.
And they've had
it's working for them. They have had David Hasselhoff, the revered man himself,
who also Jekyll and Hyde, which Andy and I have opposing views on that musical.
There you go.
I think we'll leave that for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening, as per usual.
Well, thank you very much for having me and
we hope to have
listening
you next
to me.
Week.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how. far I can
Next
get
week, we are hoping to do a show about the man that is Stephen Sondheim. We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for listening to Musical Talk. We'll see you next time.